you heard about the topic, but before the topic, let me talk something about myself. The introduction was given, but it's more about journey from my journey from the education onwards. I passed out through FMS and then joined American Express straight away from the college with no understanding of what it means to be at the job. And Amex taught me that at length. I spent first 6 years at American Express into credit life cycle management. I started from acquisition underwriting through lending capability and collection functions. And eventually when Amex was in its journey for digital transformation itself, I think back in 2016, is then I joined the role to the enterprise digital analytics function, leading the chat and the app experience charters on specific functions such as integration of ZEE and the chatbot experiences. Then recently, about a couple of years back, I have joined ZEE. ZEE is on a similar transformation journey. I would say we are almost there. We started back in February 2018. So I was midway when ZEE was transforming itself, and it has been a really great learning experience and a transformation experience at ZEE5, including ZEE5 becoming now one of the top rated apps in the OTT space, both for Android and iOS. And we also recently embarked on the journey to the sports transition with the IIT 20 International League. So it's like homecoming for ZEE. We were into sports, we'll be coming back again. This is about ZEE, just for folks who are not aware about ZEE. Hopefully everybody is aware about ZEE. We is one of the large media companies. What you may see here is about the scale, and this is connected to diversity, hence, right? To look at the kind of languages we need to address to both native and international, right? And so forth with ZEE5 on a digital platform with a strong, foray into the regional space. ZEE is known more for the regional penetration in the space, and also how it addresses the regional languages as these guys, you all move to outer geographies, let's say the Indian, native South Asians sitting abroad in markets like US and the UK, right? And we are addressing them in global platforms, right? So we are, apart from obviously from the channels and the OTT, no doubt we are with the ZEE Studio. We have a full-fledged publishing platforms in movies, right? We have a music platform, as you might be aware, and we have also, like I previously mentioned, sports. And the scale, of course, 1.3 billion viewers. So we'll talk about these things, right? We'll set the context, and then we'll get into details with 3 case studies. So why and how of initial adoption, right? So you can scale a product in Bangalore for an upwardly mobile, liberated audience, ordering on an app, and they are empowered, they are the decision makers, they need that app on the go, and you're scaling, you're defining for that ideal persona. Now suddenly that app needs to now reach to a city like Kanpur, Lucknow. A female has to use it, somebody, senior citizen has to use it. They might not have the same decision-making power from a financial perspective or otherwise. It is very relevant, right? So the power of remote, for example, in households, right? Kids command, for example, or more often than not, like let's say males command, right? So in wide, so I'm generalizing, so excuse me for that, but I'm just saying, as you scale, you have to look into those personas and profiles as well, right? Well, so one is like, you don't want to scale, you want to be in a niche market, that's fine, but if you want to scale, you obviously have to have diversity baked in, because it will surely become your Achilles heel, right? Look at all the OTT transformation, or look at all the digital transformation happening in Bangalore, and you want to scale to the level of India. And these are the challenges all the companies are typically facing. Right. The second is, of course, unintended consequences. Now, so I will not particularly talk about digital products, but there are certain unintended consequences of it. I don't know whether this is visible there with clarity, but if you have not baked in diversity in the initial product design, or well, it is tough to do, we want to first launch something and then move forward. In the continuous product discovery process, obviously it needs to be baked in, otherwise this will happen. First, right, COVID, right, and this is the oximeter, right, not designed for dark skin. Okay, well, okay, you can get it checked from the doctor. What about this, right? Seat belts. You all must have heard, right? Seat belts are not designed for women, right? Especially what about pregnant women, right? It's hazardous, right? Why? And when I say unintended consequences, I mean because nobody is willfully doing it, right? They are designed for the larger audience that they believe will adopt, right? But at this scale, women drivers will come, right? So they should think through from product discovery and they've started doing it. So this is another example. Third, this is an MIT paper on all the algorithms from top AI, tech AI companies, right? Around facial recognition, both dimensions, failing. Darker female, the worst performing, right? White male, the best performing. Consequences, yeah, you can either be for a culprit, right? So you can put me to jail, right? Just because your algo is not working. I mean, I'm just exaggerating, but obviously you will be the first suspect, prime suspect. Moving on, but there are less consequences also in the digital space. Let's say this website, it's hard to read for the aged, or the senior user base that we want to penetrate into. So what Washington Post did on the right hand side, I mean, this is a serious consequence of product not scaling to the larger base. America being largely skewed toward the aged profile, right? So the complaint, hey, your internet is designed for the young, right? You're not thought through the aged in that sense, right? So the variables, what they've done is neatly Washington Post added kind of a UI UX, simple UI UX to kind of add the font size and increase, right? This is in their print version. You can try it out. Even Times of India has recently started more of this, but a good area to look into as you want to penetrate to the masses, right? Who is reading news, by the way, right? Who wants to be more aware? Yeah, 45 plus males and females, households of America, right? So now before I get into the details of it, we had a session already, right? And you might have gone through several sessions on diversity, but just a random question, what is diversity according to you, right? What do you think diversity is, right? It's very important from even tech and product scale-up perspective, right? Because that's the real customer you're looking for. So, anybody, what is diversity according to you? Anybody, show of hands? Anybody? Thank you. I thought there will be no show of hands. Yeah.
So according to me, diversity is inclusion of every kind of person.
Yeah.
Be it in terms of gender.
Yeah.
Be in terms of age.
Yeah.
Be in terms of background.
Correct.
Or be in terms of economic
Correct.
ratio, every kind of aspect.
Correct.
So that is what I understand diversity.
I'm with you, and I'm aligned with you. That's your definition of diversity, and largely that has been what I have felt diversity to be like as well, right? So this is what we believe. This is the assumption. This is what diversity is, right? But in a real world, this is what diversity is, right? Diversity is this, right? Yeah. These four are all females, right? They are all gender is female, right? They are all using the OTT app. One is bought for blood, one is for Kumkum Bhagya, one is watching on app, another on TV. Yeah. One is able to pay, another one is watching at her willful time when the kids are left for school, right? A shopkeeper is also watching Kumkum Bhagya during the afternoon, but yeah, I'm just saying, 8 a.m. I'm watching news, right? And English mail. So I'm just saying, so the diversity is actually more complicated than we think, complex than we think, right? It's actually intersectionality of all those attributes that you talk through or that we believe, right? And hence it converts into personas. And that is what we need to design for, right? And obviously this tremendous way to, you can't have like infinite set of personas, you have 4 attributes, do the combination math, and you can't just design for everyone, but you try to design for as far as you can see where your product you think might penetrate next, right? You need to factor that in. That is what diversity is. It's the cross-section and intersectionality of all those attributes we thought through, right? And why it is important, I can keep talking about it, but these are some data points on why it makes even business rational to design for it. Where will the next phase of growth come, right? You need to tap to that user base, right? It's not just it's not just an thing that you put on paper to garner eyeballs and get traction from let's say marketing and media branding perspective, right, it's a business imperative, right? Where else are you getting to get your customers from? These are your customers. 54% of the OTT consumption will come from regional markets. City says this, not me, by 2024. So you need to penetrate to those markets. Who wins that game will win the game for India as a mass market for OTT. So how can then teams like mine help, right? So customer experience analytics team obviously will have probing into the data and deep dive and unearth the understanding of all these user profiles and attributes, but also define those personas where you want to hit next and define and what their user experience is like and where the filling in the gaps should be. Yeah. So how do we get that data? Right? Obviously, there are digital sensors all along your apps, right? Through either first party, second party, or third party cookies. As we collect more data from a digital touch point, you'll also directly reach out to the customers, right? From focus group discussions, surveys, customer complaints, anything that involves a direct customer conversation. Some customer jahan samvad hoga. The direct customer conversation is essential part of the second part of the story. Both merging together is more about this then. What is my being? What do I do hence? Right? What do I say? And how do I interact? Right? What is my being? Right? With all those profile attributes. How much of it I can get access to though, right? from a compliance perspective, how much of it I can get access to and reasonably appropriate for me to get access to. And then look into what my behaviors are on the platform. Definite behaviors such as buying a pack, watching a video, right? Completing a premium content fully, right? Let's say completion rate X. For example, right? These are my behavioral attributes. What will be the attitudinal attributes is obviously like you're getting into a discussion on how customer has reacted to a product change or what customer feels is missing in the product. For example, how customers feel about the ad on the OTT platform per se. They should be, they should not, they are irritating, there are too many ads, and what should we do about it? And which kind of personas are okay with it, to what extent, what they need from the ad. Some people say, I need the ad, make it relevant. So there's a good case study from Moingate, where then there is a study of premium, ultra premium, metro kind of profile, and people are like, hey, you throw me too many notifications, that's too much and it's too irritating, I want to get rid of it. Right? Even at American Express, we had those discussions, premium profile, etc., US market, prime market, why so many notifications, and how do we get the share of mind on notifications, right? Convert that to regional players. Moingate did this study, they are like, send me 100 notifications if you want, but as long as they are relevant, I'm okay. The premium profile is send me minimum notification even if they are there. So there is a massive difference in how people will talk about the same thing, and that is what diversity. And therefore you want to plan for it. Not plan for one rule, one notification, one contact policy, but separate policy, basis the profile and the attributes thereof. So obviously this all is data, along with the device attributes and tagging it outside of the purview, but this is baked in the behavioral attributes. And then external benchmarking, of course, like how your competition is trending and what we learn from them. Combine all this together towards CDP, like a data platform, and predict, segment, etc. Directly leverage tools from behavioral analytics also, bypass this step and still get to insights. So either way, and get to data-informed inclusive product design. So what is data-informed design? Right? You could do a survey and still design a product and believe it is working well. Right? That is data at first, but not after. I'm talking about data at first, not just from what the customer says, but what you also sense as a scale. You can do a focus group survey for maybe 100, 200. There's a huge cost to doing a focus group surveys, and a lot of bandwidth will go there. So obviously, to augment with digital tool and tracking and complement that. So if you merge the two together, you are deciding the data inform what you do next, right? But you don't stop there, right? You obviously do digital experimentation and post insight to evaluate what you did was right or not, and maybe occasionally follow through with the customers, right? Did that make sense? So therefore, we'll talk about few cases, and all these cases are not like AI data analytics. So if you are expecting that, you will not get from me, right? These are more simple and often powerful studies, right? Not that AI and data science may not be relevant, but these case studies are just to bring open the point that ultimately product design is about the customer, and the closer you are to the insights, the better it is. And I believe not just for product management, it's also for credit risk. So I'll talk about that study if we have time. So if we go further, right, this is one of the India examples of it. ZEE is a global app, right? It's in the US, UK, all those markets, including India. India is a huge market, of course, where we have this strength. But so here is the UI. We changed from top nav to left nav sometime back, 1.5 years ago, right? And while we did it, right, what we realized that we should leave the best practice margin on the left side, like we do, write the answer notes on exam paper, right, in our childhood. We left the right margin, but what happened was Indian customers were not removing their stickers. So the left navigation, more often than not, was not visible. How do you get it from data? Yeah. There's no way to get data. You have to go deeper and understand the customers. Kudos to our design team. They also went to the shop, they interacted with a lot of people. They realized, oh yeah, this is a gap, right? Because the engagement was obviously not that great to trend up, right? And there were several hypotheses, but you can build hypotheses, you go deeper and talk to the customer, see, get to the household, see how the TVs are like, right? So now what we did is obviously left more margin, right? And now we are designing at scale, because you leave more margin, it's not as if people will remove the sticker, will not see it. Obviously the other problems also addressed, right? This is one of the examples, right? The second, right? So this had been our onboarding journey, right? Obviously we're designing for the Bharat, right? So what should be your screen display language? So such as this text, all you see here should be in English, Gujarati, Marathi, Kannada, or what? And when you play the audio, in which language you should play by default. The audio can have an original language, but the first video that you play should be what language? Which language should I prefer to give it to? So those are two screens. The third talks more about whether you are, because we are in a mix of keyword export play, it was more of a trade-off made upfront in the onboarding journey to divulge you to, either a subscription journey or an onboard for a keyword consumption journey. And then you land on the home page, right? So obviously, this is a clear attempt to design for diversity. Designing for diversity is by no means easy, it's very complex. You can do it through a set of questions, but then it trade-off for the cognitive overload for the end user, obviously. So there will be drop-offs. So you'll do a lot of business here. So then this is what we did, right? So obviously, I'm just talking about content language. Simply what we did was, we asked the customer to land on the page, right? Come land on the page from skip the content language. Model for the content language with the IP, neighborhood, and the geolocation attributes, so that you can guess what is the closest language that you will see. Obviously, in the previous page, whatever language is selected, you are already close to 80% accurate. So that was a confidence, right? But we will be inaccurate, especially down south. In markets like Kerala, of course, right? There are the multilingual languages. Kerala is really tough to solve for, right? So these languages will have multiple languages. So to land on the home page, you have journey, right? So you've seen this journey on a lot of the apps also, the rails to suggest. This is a widget in which you can later on select and tell which your language is like. But this third one is very interesting, and we are still doing a lot of experimentation around it. So let's say I sampled Kartikeya, right? I am from up north. I logged in on the app from Delhi. My default language is Hindi and Punjabi, let's say. And I come down south and I like Kartikeya, right? And let's say Kartikeya was not available in the Hindi language at this OT, while it was for us. It was only available for, let's say, Telugu, Kannada, beg your pardon. So when I click on Kannada Kartikeya and sample a bit, not just like skim through and drop. If I sample a bit and then press exit, it will nudge me, hey, do you want to add Kannada to your list, right? Okay, because it's very hard to kind of decipher which other language I would know, right? In the cold start, so we also factor in the post-engagement journey. So this is another example of how do we get the language right, and a simple case study. The third, this is an Amex case study. So Amex had a deep-seated chat experience initially. We gradually scaled it up at the team's scale, of course, right? So from a hidden support journey, we made it more visible on the home page, top right, iconology, we tried a lot of icons, and ultimately the idea was to land on this page through those icons, which is a support page, and we create more engagement with the chat versus the phone, so that we in-built experience which are digitally native and services which are contained within the digital, right? and obviously very hard to do because customers are used to calling American Express. They have a different, American Express had a differentiating factor in customer service led by the phone channels. So they would like further to engage there, but obviously not everyone, right? So there are plethora of customers with American Express with a lot of cards and age and other attributes in profile. So when we broadcasted the chat through actually we arrived at the chat icon on the home page. Click on the chat icon, get on the support page. When you get on the support page, these are the options. We were having messages in chat with us. The chat was asynchronous, and the idea was do messages, not chat with us, because the expectation is when you do messages, you can set the expectation, hey, it will take a while for somebody to get to you. And these guys are impatient, they will not wait for a while, right? So the idea was how do we trade it off? Eventually, as the team is scaled, it made a lot of sense to change it to chat with us and set the expectation of asynchronous with appropriate wait times. And where I'm getting to this is like messages largely interpreted by young audience as email. It's not just wait for us for an hour or 30 minutes or 1 minute. They're like, they will respond after 24 hours. Why do I click on it? I'll tap to call. This is exactly what happened. We just simply changed, nothing else, we changed the verbiage. It's a copy change from messages to chat with us. And we saw phenomenal uptick in engagement. Tap to call reduced, right? Heavily in favor of messages, right? And with with lesser post chat call back engagement, of course. So they are reaching out and the problem is getting solved and automation rates are high. This was, and why this is relevant for the discussion is the impact is like phenomenally different by markets like India versus US, and for card types such as cashback card versus a charge card. The cashback, as you would understand, is kind of more closer to a younger audience. They are seeking it. Premium and heavy fee cards are more tuned to kind of a relatively older age profile, where they have more executive kind of experiences, launch experiences, etc. They are seeking and getting benefits from the fee they invest in the card. So it was drastically different, yeah, as you could see. So these are 3 case studies, right? So before I kind of conclude, I still have 7 minutes for question. I'll just conclude with the 5 key themes that I wanted to convey here. One was obviously product that usually scale are designed for diversity. If you look for Google tagline, they are saying design for everyone. Right? That's what they're saying. There's a code for everyone, something like that. Yeah. So design for everyone, code for everyone, build together. That's what they're saying, right? Designing for diversity is of course complex, by no means easy. These are few examples, but by no means I'm saying that is easy and we will all evolve, right? But if that is not baked in the initial product design or continuous product discovery, in markets like India, you are also right? Diversity is within intersectionality. That's a learning. So it is not a variable that you are optimizing for, but a complex multivariate that you are optimizing for. Hence, you are optimizing for persona. And data-led designs, both way, like I said, pre and post, both way, can only help achieve these outcomes. And last but not least, simplicity is often powerful, right? And to which I'll give an example of American Express credit risk study. Right? Back in 2008, they had a lot of risk models were built on mortgage value or home value in 2008 and prior. Whatever the mortgage value is, the better the profile and risk will be lower, right? The risk acumen and the profile and the folks at American Express figured out that it's not the mortgage value or the home value, the mortgage price of the home value. It's actually the equity that you have the home that matters. So I could be leveraged to 90%, right, on the home, 10% mine, 90% bank, or I could be leveraged to 30% mine and 70% bank. And depending on it, the risk profile will dramatically change, right? And you see the 2008 subprime crisis and how it helps. And so it is not, and the models will throw mortgage. The AML models will throw mortgage, right? Home value and mortgage will come at the top, right? You have to think beyond what the models will also throw in this space as you will create for credit or digital native experiences for our customers. So that pretty much I had, right? And I can stop for more questions. I have 5 minutes for questions, but it could be short if you are hungry.